the quality of being heard is a two-way street that gives pleasure, refreshment, and even that true boost of healing when it's needed. If you want your relationship to be healthy, practice mastering the skill of being heard and hearing others. I'm Nicole Alquia Maggio, your host of Dig Deep, Reach High, the podcast. In this space, everyone is invited to pull up a seat at my table where we get into honest, refreshing, and eye-opening conversations about health and wellness, relationships, and biblical living. Together, we explore with curiosity on what it takes for growth while giving the grace for the journey to get there. Even as a kid in Minnesota, I've always had big city dreams. I've transformed myself from an unaware, overwhelmed single woman into a confident, healthy wife and mom. And now I'm here to share my journey and victories and help you with yours. So come along with me as I teach you the tried and true secrets to building a life that you can truly enjoy living. This isn't just informational, it's empowering. Every week we tackle real life obstacles and host honest discussions on what works and what doesn't. Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a seat, and be ready to feel encouraged, spark curiosity, and leave empowered as we fearlessly grow through life together. This is Dig Deep, Reach High, the podcast. Did you know we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should listen twice as much as we speak? Well, at least that's the way my grandma used to say it, and no offense to grandmas everywhere, but I do think being heard is just as important as hearing someone else. Truly hearing someone and being heard is a powerful skill that impacts our connection to others, our own mental health, and even our physical pleasure. And when it comes to relationships, there's nothing greater than a moment with the one that you love, sharing your heart and connecting to them in a deeper and more powerful way. And that does take being heard and also hearing them. So today we're going to unpack the skills that we should all be practicing to really deepen our romantic, professional, and even familiar connections in order to better the experiences around the hard talks of life and also allow just inner healing to take place in us and in others. So stick with me as I lay out the scientific truth in raising your mental health and healing your soul through hearing others and being heard through the art of conversation. Imagine starting your day just feeling loved and valued, just ready for greatness. With Dayspring's uplifting devotionals, inspiring books, and charming home decor, you can set the tone for a brighter day all the time. And when you shop through my affiliate link below, you're not just treating yourself, you're supporting my work too. So click the link now to discover your daily dose of encouragement with Dayspring. Inspiration is always around every corner. Can you see it? You are having a beautiful conversation with your spouse in some cute cafe or at the bar of your favorite restaurant. You're chatting and laughing and making plans for tomorrow. The bonds of love and romance were ever growing with every passing minute. Just thinking about it gives me a little chills. But why is that? I mean, why do we feel so connected together or even just deeper bonds of love developing just by simply talking? Well, to be honest, being heard and the ability to truly hear others is a fundamental human need that's part of our wellness and our own mental health. It's also a powerful skill to have, whether with an intimate relationship or friend, a boss, or a coworker. The quality of being heard is a two-way street that gives pleasure, refreshment, and even a true boost of healing when we need it. And in relationships, there is no way around it. If you want your relationships to be healthy, you have to master this skill of being heard and truly hearing others. Now, being heard and hearing others is the pinnacle reality of any good communication. Without good communication, especially in a romantic or a spousal relationship, it just falls apart. Whether you see misunderstandings happening, a lack of satisfaction, or just connection to your spouse, or even you just don't feel like your needs are being met in like any holistic version of the way, communication is the key in 99.9% of relationships to deepen them and better them. And being heard and hearing others also improves the teamwork between a couple. It builds trust, this deep connection that can go all the way to improving moments, even in the bedroom. There is untapped potential to true depth of your love relationships that hearing and being heard gives. And this is what we're going to work on together today. Now, I think it's safe to say that we've all had our share of arguments in this life, especially with the ones that we love most. I've had my share with my husband as well. Now, mind you, I do think my husband and I tend to argue, as they say, a little bit different than most couples, because we know we both have very different styles of communication. I'm a crier, he's a processor. I like to talk, he likes to think. However, in our years together, we do know sort of how to address really big issues and have come to good grounds with our communication, and really the ability to hear and be heard by each other. This kind of sets the tone of quality communication for each and every time we need to discuss something, whether heavy or light. I'll give you an example. I remember we had a really hard discussion about our life that we needed to go through. It wasn't really an argument, but we were both on opposite sides of this table. And whenever we have to have these talks, we really try to approach our conversations with a few basic things. We tell the truth, no matter how painful it may sound, little to no emotions, attentive listening, and patience. But we try to bring the highest amount of clarity and understanding to the table. And if all else fails, we're not against just taking a break when we need to reconnect about it another day. Now, I understand that not everyone is going to naturally have these experiences with their spouse, and to be honest, neither did we. From the beginning of our relationship, we always had a huge effort and put a lot of attention in quality communication, especially since we both have two different native languages. English is my language, and Spanish is for my husband. Now, in English, there's a lot of slang and ideology and prefaces of how we talk and what we're talking about. Where in Spanish is very direct, very specific language. It definitely has its quirks, just like English, but when it comes to describing things, we like to make sure that we are understanding the emotion or the intention behind it, because it can be very different when it comes to English and Spanish, let alone a man and a woman, which is why my husband and I have worked very hard to understand each other in both languages the best that we can. There have been times, mostly in the first years of really knowing each other, where misunderstandings and offense came in, but it always boiled down to some miscommunication or not really hearing the other one correctly, which is why I bring this up, because I know we can all use a little reminder, if nothing else, of how to be a good hearer, a good listener, but also how to make sure that you're being heard the way that you need for your health and for your well-being too. So let's start with being a good hearer. In being the one doing the hearing, there are several things that we can do to make sure that the other person feels heard, and it deepens our connection to them. First is being to prepare the scene. Now, preparing the scene is about checking the environment where you're going to talk. No matter who called this meeting of the minds, if you're in a place and have things or people around you that are distracting you or pulling your attention, just suggest a venue change. Attentiveness is a non-negotiable, especially if you want quality communication and understanding on both sides. So if you notice something in the environment of your chat or discussion to be a distraction or just giving constant interruptions, just ask to change the spot or even connect later when you have a better location to really connect. The next one is to set the intention of your heart. When we're listening to somebody else, it can be very easy to set almost like a scene of what they're talking about. We can paint images in our minds of what they're going through. But when we set the intention of ourselves, we're preparing to listen to our spouse, our friend, whoever it is, without judgment. And just really focus in and listen to what they're going to say word by word. Not to preface anything or think ahead, you already know what they're going to say. We set the intention to extend grace to whatever comes out of their mouth and really allow them to paint this picture of what's happening on their side of the table, on their journey, their experience, whatever the situation may be. There's nothing to judge or debate, not until you can truly see what they're painting and see that side of the table. So just from the beginning, prepare your heart to just receive what they're saying, no matter what's given. I do personally think this is a really big one for guys to understand, as most women can be very verbal processors. I tend to see a lot more women doing this, that sometimes we say things in order to process and figure things out, and we're kind of piecing together what we're really trying to get to in our heart. Whereas guys can just be very quiet until they really know what they're going to say and they just blurt it out. It's kind of a quirk between both of us, and sometimes to just be aware of and make your partner aware of it too, so that they can be a better hearer and listener when you're speaking. So moving on to the last thing is really about being patient. Open your ears to hear and set your mouth to zip it up, zip it shut. Don't say anything. Don't think about anything. Don't even breathe. Well, okay, breathe. But the main thing is to be patient. Allow them to get it all out, to talk it out, release their troubles, their concerns, their joy, their curiosity, their questions, their processes, whatever it is. Allow them to go down the road of this mental journey, to express themselves. Sometimes you'd be surprised what you can actually learn about someone that you love and you've known for years. But when you just let them talk and open the caverns of their soul, their mind to you, especially when it's a hard or a painful talk, you can really learn some impactful things. In my experience, my husband and I both come from very painful pasts, and sometimes when we start talking, we'll actually be triggered by pains or moments of our past, and we both understand that sometimes letting those paths of pains come out really allows for us to be healed for more of a long-term stance. And what better place to heal than in the safety of a conversation with the one that you love most? Which is why, for the one doing the talking, we also have to know how to be heard and to set ourselves up for success when we're in that position. So when we're the speaker or the talker and we're the one that are going to be heard, we first need to make sure that we can be honest. Being honest with ourselves, with who we're speaking with, and especially if it's your spouse, is a beautiful part of marriage to be able to speak frankly. You don't have to sugarcoat things or walk on eggshells around them. Heck, that's why we married them. You still want to be kind, especially if you're saying something hard or a correction or maybe a pain that they're causing. Be honest though, speak from your heart. This will stop way more misunderstandings or debates than if you try to sugarcoat or skirt around the issues. Just be clear. And sometimes you might find emotions that come up that can make it hard to speak your truth or to really share what's going on. And they kind of just get twisted in your mind or freeze up your voice because you don't want to cause more problems between you two. Think of starting with your emotions softly. Work on funneling or controlling the intensity of your emotions. If you have to cry in all of your honesty, then do it. But maybe not to the sobbing mess that they can't understand what you're saying. Just kind of let the tears fall softly and try to harness or control gently those emotions so that you can express honestly for yourself what's happening. And hopefully the person you're speaking with can understand and console you and help to support the emotions behind what you're going through too. The next one is to assume a position of education. Think to educate your spouse with kindness on you, your feelings, your side of the table, your moment, so that they can best see you and the situation for what it truly is or was. Don't think just because you've been married to them for 1 year, 5 years, 50 years, that they know the depths of your soul and the ins and outs of your mind. Approach your delivery of whatever you need to say with even more specific educational speech like, do you remember when I was upset yesterday and I was kind of quiet? I know you like to give me space. You mean well, but ultimately, what I really need when I don't feel good is for you to engage with me. I need you to help my mood by giving me love or talking with me, blah, 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 right? Explain yourself. Give a good image of how you can use all conversations as a moment to educate your spouse on what you like, what you don't like, what inspires you, maybe what you need from them. It's always good to keep the learning and curiosity up about our spouse, especially since we never really know all the history behind our spouse's character or reactions. And the more we learn and are interested, the more connection there is between us. The one last thing I would say for the one to be heard, that speaker, is to ask questions. It can be easy, especially as a talkative person, to just keep going and going and going and going. But it's good to stop once in a while and just say, does that make sense? Or something like, do you understand what I mean? Just something to help drop them in the moment and bring some clarity to both sides of the conversation. Even if you're talking about something simple like your schedule. My husband and I talk about our schedules a lot. We have a lot going on in a family of 5, and we ask a lot of questions. What are you doing after work? Whose turn is it for bedtime routines? Especially when we have to do a parent handoff. One comes home and the other one leaves really quick. And even in these talks, I'll usually use this point. I'll say something like, so I'll pick up Eliana from school and give the girls a bath. When you come home, all you need to do is feed them and get them ready for bed. Does that make sense? Now the phrase, does that make sense? It's very simple, but it really helps to solidify what you're asking or telling them about or talking about. It's just a really nice trick for clarity, and to use it with people that do have a busy schedule or when you need to do a parent handoff, it's even more important. Then even in more serious talks, making sure that the emotions or your side of the table is coming across clearly to the other person, it's helpful to just drop in the moment and solidify that before you keep going with your thoughts. So why do I explain all this? Because I believe that you can have a deeper relationship with your spouse, and chances are that you want a deeper relationship since you're listening to this episode. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if every conversation we had with our spouse was creating a space where every word just built a deeper bond and it sparked lasting change in our relationship to better our lives? We could be talking over lunch, snuggled up in bed, or conversing right over the kitchen counter and have a conversation that empowers our connection to each other and to be our best self. And all of this power comes from being heard and truly hearing others. This is a sort of power of hearing and healing that can open up doors to heal past pains and actually give our mental and physical health a boost. If you could instantly help your spouse feel lighter, brighter, and more like that beautiful person you married, would you do it? Well, this is the one thing that you could do every day to add a little uplift to their mental and emotional health. Simply ask them a question and set the intention to practice making them feel heard. And then when they're done, flip the script and set the intention again to respond to be heard as well. Now, after you practice it a few times, as always, I definitely encourage you to talk to your spouse about what you're learning, what you're trying, what you're doing to better your relationship and your communication. But maybe practice it a few times before you tell them, just so that you don't psychoanalyze all the conversations that you're going to have that next week. It's helpful to know how much thought or intention you're put behind building a better relationship together. And really sharing what you're learning deepens those bonds of togetherness as well. And who knows, maybe they'll get on board and they'll learn with you. You can have them listen to this episode too if it's helpful. That way you both can be on the same page and really discuss your thoughts about what it means to each other to feel heard and to hear the other person. And let me tell you, when it really comes down to it and you have to have a hard conversation or really a true argument, you'll be happy to fall back on these skills and be able to discuss things, not argue about them, but really approach them with love and a desire to stay connected even when you're on opposite sides of the table. And it truly is a beautiful experience. We all have the potential to get better at hearing others and making them feel heard, to give them some love and some mental support in their health, as well as to be better speakers ourselves and to make sure that we can feel heard and feel that love in return. I always loved this perspective that my husband used to say when we would talk about getting better at things. He always says we all have defects, but in those defects, we have a choice to get better at them. We can't always change our defect and immediately flip it to something good. We have to just get better. And this is one of those times. Putting intention behind the listener and making others feel heard by prepping the scene, setting the intention of our heart to no judgment, being patient so they can really speak out their truth. And as the speaker who wants to be heard, to be honest, to position yourself to educate with kindness and to ask questions for clarity through the conversation. These sort of practices is what's really going to not only make us better at our defects of selfishness or distractions, or being able to just show love It takes practice, but the more that we practice, the better we get. And I encourage you to practice and keep practicing these skills anywhere you can. Take them even further outside just your spouse. Practice on your kids, your parents, your friends, your coworkers, anyone who takes the time to speak with you, even for a second. Being in the moment to hear and to be heard is a beautiful experience that shows respect and love while deepening connections and sets you up for a strong and long-lasting relationship. So remember, the quality of being heard is a two-way street that gives pleasure, refreshment, and even that true boost of healing when it's needed. And in our relationships, there's no greater moment than when you have that good connection, sparking life all around and deepening your love. If you want your relationship to be healthy, practice mastering the skill of being heard and hearing others. So I dare you to try it. Just see how impactful it really is. Practice being a good listener first. Let your spouse be heard. And then when you respond, do your best to make sure that you're heard as well. You'll never know how much can change in just one moment of being honestly heard and sensing that connection deepen within one conversation. It's literally that quick. It's just, again, about prepping that scene, setting the intentions of your heart with no judgment, being patient. Let them feel heard. And when you speak, be honest. Position yourself to educate with kindness and ask questions for clarity so that you can feel heard as well. I know this skill will better any relationship, so keep practicing and let's raise our own mental and emotional health and heal the souls of the ones that we love through the simple art of conversing. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, subscribe and better yet, leave a review. Help us to reach others who could use a fresh perspective and a little reminder how to get their own mental health and their well-being a boost and to take care of the ones we love. We all have room to grow, so let's grow together. Don't miss the next episode of Dig Deep, Reach High, where I unlock the tools to break free from depression and worry. Learning the secrets of freedom from Hannah's real-life story, we walk through a moment of her deepest depression to a future of freedom. Until next time, keep practicing, dig deep, and reach high. Relax. It's so quiet tonight. Just enjoy your evening wrapped in your most luxurious shawl, snuggled in your favorite chair, and sipping a warm drink. That's the feeling that Dayspring brings with its cozy collection. From slippers to elegant home decor, every piece just offers that touch of comfort and satisfaction. Treat yourself or even someone you cherish to a moment of inspiration and comfort. When you shop using my affiliate link in the show notes or down below, you show support to me too. But visit dayspring.com through my link today and just let yourself be wrapped in inspiration. Dayspring, inspiring every day.